All right, we're back again. We have our adventure film this week, and hopefully, you're a little bit familiar with this all-time franchise hero, played by Harrison Ford, of course, Indiana Jones. And this film has been rebranded as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, but before, it was not originally called that. It was originally called Raiders of the Lost Ark, made in 1981, the year of my birth. Notable right there, right? And this was directed by Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest living directors, and it was edited and produced and uh, written by George Lucas, of course, George Lucas of Star Wars fame, American Graffiti. And they were friends and teams and worked together on several of the sequels, the first three, actually four Indiana Jones films. Now, if you're familiar with the Indiana Jones franchise, we know that there are five of them right now, right? And usually of various degrees. I grew up with Indiana Jones and loved the original trilogy, which of course is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. In fact, Last Crusade was the one that I was able to see in theater. I also saw Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when it came out when I was older, and then I watched at home Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which not really has involvement with the original creators or director. So Steven Spielberg really related to this. Notably iconic is Harrison Ford, who you may know from being the Red Hulk in the Marvel franchise, or Indiana Jones is one of his key roles. He's also Han Solo in the Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, let's get into this action adventure. Deals with Nazis, and what's notable about the franchise is before we got into all these prequels and sequel business, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which is the sequel, is actually a prequel. You note that in the first 5 seconds, it tells us the year, and the movie takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it's interesting because there's callbacks to Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a point where Indy runs into a guy with a sword, right? And he goes and reaches for his gun, and his gun's not there. So he actually has to fight it. Let's talk about that famous scene. In this scene, a really funny moment. This, the guy with the sword comes out, and Indy takes the gun and shoots him, and that's the end of the battle. Well, Harrison Ford was sick on set and wasn't up. He had like 102-degree fever, so this was actually a change in script to make it easier, and they made it funny. Indiana Jones, or Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course. Steven Spielberg said he was making a B movie, and a B movie is a lower production value, kind of more for the masses, less thoughtful movie. That's kind of the feeling that he felt. And he was actually inspired, and George Lucas was inspired by what are called serials. And serials were adventure films that they used to film that would play in between feature films. And adventure films would be short, serialized stories. You would go to the movie theater. Of course, the movie theaters back in the day, you would pay a nickel, and you could spend all day in there. And they play two movies, some serials, maybe some cartoons, and a newsreel. And it would just go on loop. Basically, you'd watch that all day, and you could stay in there as long as you wanted to watch your feature film, your serial, and the serial would be a short 5 to 15, 20-minute film that continued to tell the stories of Flash Gordon or adventure films. And so was the kind of idea, was like Indiana Jones was one of these adventure films, but long and made to extend the entire thing. Iconic moments in Indiana Jones is the whip, the hat, um, notably Alfred Molina's first on camera debut. He's in the first temple. He's throw me the whip, and throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip. guy, and then he ends up with the spikes. Alfred Molina, he notably gets covered in uh, tarantulas, notable because he, of course, then goes on to star as one of the villains in the Spider-Man franchise. He's Doctor Octopus. Um, Other great things that I like to point out in this, the final scene where they open the Ark of the Covenant, and the Nazis look in and note how every single one of them, they die in a different fashion, a different sci-fi fashion. One person's head is made of wax and melts. One person's head explodes, and these elements are really really fun. I just showed my 10 and 8 year old this film. My 10 year old was horrified by the final scene, and my 8 year old was laughing her butt off. So I think it's really really fun elements. This is an iconic film, a top 10 character in cinema, Indiana Jones, and it's because he's cool. Lots of fun iconic elements, and got turned into a ride at Disneyland. I want to know in the comments how many of you have ridden Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Eye. I think is that one called. I know I can't remember the name of the ride right now, but the ride is fun and built into there. Snakes, why is it got to be snakes? He hates snakes. Um, Marion, of course, played by uh, Karen Allen, is a really strong feminine character in the story. John Rhys Davies plays Sala, who you may know as Gimli the dwarf in Lord of the Rings, main character on the TV show Sliders. Really really fun cast and characters, and um, lots of fighting, lots of Nazis, relatable today. Um, and there's a ton of fun behind the scenes elements that you can check out, but I always think about iconic lines from this movie. Why is it always going to be snakes? Also John Williams, who developed the score, which is the music, is iconic. Dun 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 dun. It just gets you going. It's one of those fun iconic things that you play, and like just pumps you up. um uh you know the final shot where we see all of the boxes is a tribute to Citizen Kane, which is widely considered one of the best films ever made, 1941, by Orson Welles. Lots of things to read. I want you to think about. um I want to know, did you have fun? Have you seen the other Indiana Jones? Does this one still hold up? This is an adventure. You can definitely find it on Disney Plus. um if you have that. Um, and how many of you have seen this in theater, or ridden the ride? Tell me your favorite moments, your favorite adventure excitement moments for this film. Okay, I hope you enjoy Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I'm very interested in hearing what you think about it. Okay, make sure to read the notes and comment, write your response, and write your replies. Alrighty.